Okay, everyone. I'm going to try to do this. It's going to be interrupted because I guarantee you that's going to happen. I'm going to try to do this from the what I like to call now the valley that is Maple Valley. I'm just going to walk around and what all my vlogs are. I may have to tip the camera down a little bit just or not pay attention to it just to make sure I'm paying attention to my feet. Just walking around and in downtown Maple Valley. So I'm going to try to hold the camera up. I'm going to pay attention to my feet. So that was that pause there. I'm trying to hold the camera up and pay attention to my feet. So right behind me is the PT, physical therapy, place where my mom and I go up there. Where my mom and I go because mom goes for her shoulder and I go because I was in the hospital a while ago. So yeah, I go there for. I go up there for. Actually, it's over. It's over there. But that's where mom and I go. Over there is Goodwill. Over there is a Mexican restaurant. So I'm just gonna walk around and see if. And right there, this is Seattle. So that this shouldn't be much of a surprise. Right there is a coffee stand on the middle of a parking lot. You know, because Seattle is coffee capital of the planet, of several planets. Unfortunately, Starbucks started here. And I say unfortunately because I don't like coffee. Yes, I'm one of those people. I don't like coffee. So, that's why I say unfortunately. But Starbucks started here, so there's a lot of those places here. You will see a lot of those. That's quite common. So, so you will notice that you will probably notice that too, but you will see that a lot. I'm also going to pay attention to what's around me while I'm walking. So, yeah, pay attention to what's around you while you're walking. Um, So what I was trying to do earlier, when I was trying to do a stream earlier, a vlog earlier about, there was a, if you get the floors carpeting replaced in your house, I realize that and this is coming from a guy who doesn't do that, who doesn't understand the littlest bits of stuff like that. It's coming from a guy who doesn't understand that. So bear that in mind. That basically, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But that is a very, very, very long process. Extremely long. Imagine the slowest possible thing you can imagine, and then go slower than that. So, yeah. So, and I realized there was one guy doing all that work of replacing the floor of my parents' house. So I realized it was one guy, and honestly, he was a great guy. He was a good guy. He's a really good guy. And he was doing the best he can. And there was one guy, but the house is not that big. And it took him about almost a week to do it. 5 days to do half the floor and do it wrong. Realize that you tore everything up, and then you put the base back. I can only think to call it the backing. The undercoating or undercovering that goes under the flooring, between the flooring and the floorboards. So it took him 5 days to put that down, and then put the wrong one down. Then realized that when he put the flooring on top of that, it did something to the flooring where it didn't support it or didn't do it right. So that was You see a lot of cars. And there's the 76 gas station up there. There's a bus stop right over there too. So it took him like 5 days to realize he did that and did that wrong. So he had to do it all over again. Take that, put that down, do it wrong, tear it up, start all over again. And then like 3 or 4 more days to put the right stuff down, which ended up being corkboard that didn't do what the original backing did. So now they have the right floor down, the right flooring down, and because he didn't do carpeting, they had to get 2 more guys who there should have been in the first place. 2 guys. So that the first guy, who admittedly was a good guy, so the first guy didn't have to do everything all by himself. So, noisy cars. So, 2 more guys came in. They did the carpeting in the rooms that needed new carpeting. And it took them a lot quicker than the first guy. The first guy took like 5 days. And I'm a very, very extroverted person. I like being outside. I like being outside with people. I like being around people. I don't like being inside. And there's a couple times where I had to get stuck inside, and I really, really despise that. And I really strongly hated that. So I was stuck inside, and just because I'm on a leave of absence from my job for medical reasons, and so I was just stuck there. That was very uncomfortable and very, very, very unpleasant. But I did the best I could. You have to. There's Goodwill over there. I did the best I could. You do the best you can. So I did. Excuse me. So I did the best I could. And it just, let me say what I said initially a few minutes ago. Picture the slowest thing you could possibly imagine. The mind-numbingly slowest thing you could possibly imagine, and then go slower than that. So that's basically what it was. And that's basically what you're going to get. So some people, and I realize that, like I said, that coming from a guy who doesn't do that work and doesn't understand what it's like to do that work. So I get that. But it's just extremely tedious, extremely slow for one guy to do. It was mind-numbingly slow. And the guy, he did his best, and I will give him credit for that. He was one guy, and he did a good job. And he did his best with what he had. So you can't fault him for that. And he did do a good job with what he had at his disposal. But it was very, very, very mind-numbingly slow. And it drives you crazy. Now, to continue to go on to what some of my other good friends were talking about, or have talked about. As you know, I've mentioned before in my podcast, and I mentioned before several times, she is going to, starting today, actually. She started today. But her tour and her official orientation will be tomorrow with her wife, and her daughter. They're going to be working for Blue Origin. And no, her degree, she's not a space nerd. I mean, well, that's not true. She is a space nerd, like me. She is a space nerd, but that's not where her degree is. Her degree is... Give me a second to stop and think about this. Her degree is a master's. I'm going to get this right because she's going to roll her eyes at me if I get it wrong. Her degree is a master's in archaeological heritage from the Department of Anthropology. And she's going to jump for joy if I got that right, which I believe I did. At the University of Washington. So yes, she's a Husky. But she loves space, and she follows in space and follows. She follows things in space, and she loves all space stuff. And so she's going to be going back to Blue. She's going to be working for Blue Origin. And I forget what her official title is now. She has a higher position and a higher title now than she did when she first worked there. But director of flight? No, she's not a director of flight. But the official title is she's a director of flight management or flight operations. I apologize if I got that title wrong. For New Shepard. And yes, New Shepard is the Blue Origin space program that goes for space tourism. So I know you're rolling your eyes, space tourism. So, but like she says, space isn't for the government employees, like NASA. And space is for everyone. We're all spacefaring creatures. Space is for everybody. Everybody who wants to see space or be part of space should be able to go into it. Everyone who wants to experience space should be able to go into it. Should be able to go to it. Yes, the price tags are not cheap. And that doesn't mean anything. Yes, she can afford it. So she can go into space on New Shepard. So yes, I know what you might be thinking. Space is for rich people. Yes, because of the price tag, it's for people who have a lot of money. But it's not for specifically people of like Elon Musk's and Jeff Bezos and their kind of price tags. It's not for those kind of snooty rich people. It's for people who can afford it and people who want to. And it's for everyone. And I agree with Blue Origin's tag for the benefit of Earth. And I agree with Bezos when he came up with that. And space is for everyone who wants to experience it. There, I just saw the sign. If you can see it, there's the outpatient physical therapy that Mom and I go to. Go there if you're out here in Maple Valley. Side note, I just saw the sign. I wanted to throw it in there. So space is for everyone. And if you can experience space, I've asked her, other people have asked her, her followers have asked her, if you can experience space, would you go there? And she's, as would I, and she has said yes, she would. So would I. If I can afford it. If I could afford it, which I can't. If I could afford it, which she can. If we can afford it, would we go to space? Yes, I would. Can you imagine seeing the Earth from that view, the view that you would get? It's unmentionable. You can't, other than just go, you can't, other than gasp, you can't say anything greater than that. It's just it'd be just unmentionable. Just great. Just beyond words. Really unbelievable. So you the problem the main problem that I have is, one, I can't afford it, and two, her problem is she can afford it. But her problem is that she'd have to be away from her wife and her daughter. And that's the major problem she would have, is she wouldn't want to be away from them. Yes, you'd only be away from them for a couple of days or maybe a day or so, or a few minutes while you go up in the rocket, where you go up in New Shepard, up into low Earth orbit. But you'd be away from them, and then as would I, she'd have a problem with that. And I understand her viewpoints. I understand all that. That makes a lot of sense. So it comes down to it, for what she has said, and I understand. It comes down to it. It's not whether you can afford it. It's, what is the view? What does the experience mean to you to be able to see that? Sorry, I had to adjust the microphone on the earbud in my ear. If you could see that, what does that mean to you? What does that experience mean to you? To be able to see something no one else in your life or that you've ever known has ever been able to see, or would ever be able to see. What does that mean to you? And to her, it means a lot. It means beyond expression. It's a unmentionable experience. And there's Mod. You can see it over there. There's Mod Pizza. There's it's beyond. I understand that it's beyond expression. You can't say what that means to someone. To see some, it's kind of like, and she's equated this to it, and I understand where she's coming from. It's kind of like when she got married. To marry the love of her life, to marry her wife, and to marry someone, to be with someone, and to be around someone and have the experience you'll never have again. And is unlike anything that you could have ever had. She's equated it to something similar to that. To be able to see what it's like, what the planet looks like from orbit, from like that. And she has pointed out several times, and I agree with her, in a universe that's as vast as ours is, how does one planet have life on it? How can that be? We don't know, because we don't have proof. There's nothing we can do or we have ever known that we could see to prove that. But how is it possible that in a universe as vast as ours is, one planet has life? That's ridiculous. It's just absurd to assume that. It's like looking at a tree there. It's like looking at a tree and seeing only on that tree, only one of that trees has a leaf. You see that, right? You see how many leaves there are. It's the same thing. Do you realize how ridiculous that assumption is? If you look into something as vast as the universe is, as wide and as vast as it is, how can one planet be the only planet that has life? It's just absurd and ridiculous to assume that. Now, we can't prove that anything else exists. We can't prove that. We don't know that because we don't have the ability to prove that that's the case. There's no way we can prove that. And if it's out there, which I'm pretty sure it is, and she says she's pretty sure it is, there could be the same situation. That other life has no way to know that we're here. What if that other life is in the same boat that we're in? Has no way to prove that we're here. Can't detect us, is so far away they can't detect us. They have nothing to prove that we could exist or that we ever do, that we ever could. But it's weird. You know what I mean? Like, how absurd is it to assume that in a universe, like I just said, a universe as vast as ours is, that only one planet has life? It's ridiculous to assume that. And I know there's a lot weirdness, there's a lot that I've been saying, and there's a lot kind of that I've been going off on, and so thank you all. I'm going to pause here and continue on another episode, but thank you all so much for watching. Click that follow button, click that thumbs up, and thank you all so much for watching.